Welcome to Triangle BNI. Today's show is brought to you by Oak City Tech. If you go to oakcitytech.com, you will see all the services they provide for you. They will not only design your website, they will help you promote it. They will get you seen in the digital world. Whether you need an email mailing list, graphics, content, they can do anything like that. They will help get leads to your website that hopefully you can turn into sales. Go to oakcitytech.com, and I know they can help you. Hi, everybody. My name is Mike Manning. Each week, we bring you a small business success story from Triangle BNI. If you are not familiar with BNI, it is Business Networking International, the world's largest networking organization. And our little slice of heaven here in the Triangle is Raleigh, Durham, and Chapel Hill. Each week, about 40 chapters and nearly 600 members get together, and we are always looking out to help each other grow our businesses. That's one of the things I love about BNI. Our small business success story this week is Alex Reynes, president, founder, and operator of Reynes Media. Alex, how are you today?
I'm good, Mike. How are you?
Doing good. You are in the digital world. Everybody's going digital. Everybody needs you. Half of them think they can do it better than you. What kind of things are you working on these days because we are somewhere in the midst of COVID?
Well, I'm kind of all over the place these days, especially with COVID. I've seen a huge kind of spike in real estate work and kind of that virtual, like the virtual tours, anything that's kind of contactless. That's been a big deal lately.
You do video production, video editing. You also do commercial still photography. You have, and Alex and I are in the same BNI chapter. It's RD18, Connections in Motion. We meet Thursdays at noon, usually at the Hibernian Pub on Falls. But right now we're in the middle of Zoom and COVID. So we're going to be doing Zoom for a while, but we're all kind of getting used to it. You have preached each week to us that video is king, and that will likely always be, won't it?
It will. I think it's just going to get more and more prevalent, and a lot of these social media channels and stuff like that. It's just going to continue to kind of take over and dominate that space.
You did a 10-minute presentation last week, and you showed a video that you did for Scott Sams, owner of Dynamic Print Solutions. Scott's been on the show before, but you used Kayla Gilbert with One Team Restoration to give the testimonial about Scott. Why is that way so efficient for a business owner?
Well, it's efficient in a couple of ways. So number one, obviously we have a happy customer talking about their experience. But the second part to that is Kayla is also a big successful business owner in the area, and there are clients who obviously know and trust her, and so her experience as a business owner, as just a regular everyday customer, it's a two-sided story, and it I think helps connect more people into her experience.
When you and Scott sat down to talk about that, do you work with him to script kind of the points you want to get into that video, or how does that work?
So I actually didn't really even tell Scott what I was going to be doing. Um, that testimonial, I kind of just took it and ran with it on my own. I wanted to show Scott maybe a different way of doing things than he might be used to doing. I think it's a little difficult for certain business owners to um, be in their business, but then also have that perspective of, well, what should we, you know, focus on for video content or certain marketing content. So I kind of wanted to take it and almost surprise Scott with it and see if maybe that was what he was expecting or if it was totally different.
If you are a small business owner, you kind of can do a number of things, but the line drawn between any skill set and creativity can be the size of the Grand Canyon sometimes, can it?
It definitely can. And I mean, I even struggle with that on my own sometimes. I feel that my website is never never good enough, never done. And this last go around, I actually had a good friend of mine who's also in the creative marketing world. I basically gave him the keys and was like, show me what you kind of perceive my brand as.
Yeah, and we all get caught in the weeds in our own business. And sometimes, well, I've said for years, and your work confirms this, nobody knows your business like your clients, do they?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the other thing too is you can do your best to kind of build your own brand and cultivate that brand, but it's really going to come down to, yeah, exactly that, who your client base is. And I mean, I think that kind of determines eventually what your brand becomes.
Because what you think your client was wowed about sometimes is right, but not always. It sometimes could be something completely different, right? I'm sure you've had that experience before.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Pre COVID, I found myself beginning a lot of questions with pre COVID. In the restaurant world, in the movie world, people were going online to see what everybody else thought about those restaurants and movies before they went. What are people looking for in a regular service business, be it a dentist office, a carpet cleaner, a media company like yours? What are they looking for?
Well, what I've noticed lately is a big kind of push more towards customer service. I think that's coming back in a huge way. I think we lately have been leaning more towards these big businesses that are very automated and very, you know, accessible to us, apps on our phone, stuff like that. But when there's an issue uh, and there's no one to talk to, that's a real frustrating experience. So I'm seeing a lot of people really focus back on customer service and having that personalized, experience.
And I've thought for years that that's the great divider. There are 1,000 business coaches. There's probably 1,000 media companies. But how do they feel when they're doing business with you? I'm with you. I think separates people from their competition, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And like you said, I mean, there's so much competition. There's a million business coaches out there. There's 2 million video guys out there. So it is those little things that separate you from the rest. And I think those how you're treating your client, that's the biggest deal to me.
Do you remember your first video you sold to someone?
I do. Yeah, it's not good.
Tell me why. Tell me why you think it wasn't good.
So the video it was actually for my college, Montana State University. I had a friend come to me. He was in a sustainability class, and they wanted to put together a video about how Montana State University is sustainable, what steps they're taking towards sustainability, and eco-friendliness. And um, I mean, there's a million reasons why it wasn't good, but uh, I, one of the biggest things was I was taking their footage and kind of just editing it together, and I kind of would throw in a couple of my own clips here and there. But it was just, I mean, it was just amateur in every aspect of that word. I don't even remember what editing software I was using at the time. Um, but another I think issue was I didn't have a process. I didn't know what questions to ask up front. I didn't know, how long things would take, or what a deliverable looked like, anything like that. So I mean, that I think the process was just like, that's something that I needed to develop and have since then. And uh, yeah, I never want to see that video again.
Did they use it?
Oh yeah, yep. And it may or may not be on their YouTube channel. Probably shouldn't have said that, but
You have to have that creative bone in your body at some age, don't you, to be able to see things different than the rest of us do?
Yeah, I think so. I think I've always been a fairly creative person. Even, thinking back as a kid, some of the stuff I used to do, and then, um, you know, I, I do think it is a total, left brain, right brain type, you know, uh, job, obviously.
When you're
Um,
putting together a video for a client, do you wait and look at the video and then kind of write the theme around that, or do you go in with a point to make?
I I really like going in with a point and a purpose and something to kind of uh, set our sights for. Um, there's just too many ways of doing it that sometimes going into something not knowing exactly what you're going for, that can work. But when you're dealing with businesses and marketing messages and branding and stuff like that, you want to have a pretty decent idea of what you're doing, because that will determine what your shots look like, you know, some of the maybe questions you're going to ask somebody, or just some of the actual aspects that go into production. It can definitely affect those.
There are more people walking the planet like me than like you. And I say that from a creativity standpoint. Everybody seems like is using their cell phone camera. Let's help the people today. What's a couple things that we just do horribly wrong with our camera on our phone?
Sure. So yeah, that's definitely not a bad option for some people. Being able to just have that technology right in their pocket. But a couple of things that people can do to make those better is first off, um, we have a tendency to film like this in portrait mode, but we really have to. I mean, landscape, that is video's native format. It just that's how videos need to be shot. I know that Facebook and certain social medias, they are starting to format things back into a square for you, but you can also get a square out of that landscape video. Um, another thing is, um, lighting is, you know that is everything that makes up a video. So just make sure that you're staying away from really um, different lighting scenarios. So sun behind you, shaded face, that's not going to look great. So maybe, flip around so that you actually have some light on your face, that sort of thing.
And for old people like me who have bifocals, we tend to look up like this so we can
Yeah.
see the screen. And my boys just tell me to quit taking pictures like that because I'm getting better, but I still struggle. And then the other thing is where to hold the camera. Are we looking down the front of our shirt or are we looking up our nose?
Right.
Or should we do neither?
Straight on, eye level, that's where I like to kind of do things. It can tend to be a little bit more flattering if you're holding the camera up just a little bit. But then also too, if you want to get into the kind of psychology of things, if you're filming from a lower angle and we're kind of looking up at you, it's gonna give you more of like an authoritative
Hmm.
presence on camera. So it again just kind of depends on, I guess, the message you're going for. But a straight on, like I said, eye level, that's a good safe place.
You must chuckle looking at Facebook. Just not what the quality of the picture, but just the subject matter of some pictures that people take, right?
Yeah, I've definitely seen some things that I question as to why you'd put that out there for people to see. And I think that's a big point these days, is people might think they're doing themselves a favor by saving some money and doing some of this media by themselves, but what you're really doing is shooting yourself in the foot in the long run.
I don't know anybody personally that this has happened to, but I chuckle at the people going on vacation. They spend 3 days talking about it, the prep time, and then they spend a week posting pictures of vacation. Don't know if anybody has their home address, but it just screams nobody's home for a week.
Yeah.
Like I said, thankfully, I don't know anybody that's happened, and I hope it hasn't happened to anybody. But I love some of those. The only thing I really post are pictures of me and Oliver, my
Right.
grandson, who I will work into any conversation anywhere. But other than that, and I have to ask his dad sometimes. I'll take a picture like, "Hey, you okay with me posting this?" But kids, yeah, kids and grandkids pictures I'm good with, and those seem to be very popular.
Yeah, that's fair.
And family reunions. I think some of these videos, these national videos that people that go viral, I I swear some of those are doctored.
Oh, yeah, they have to be. That's
Yep,
it's the
there's no
time
way.
we're living in.
Yeah, there's no way the car goes through the circle of fire and then over the light post. It just, stuff like that doesn't happen. So, but people they try to do the goofiest things, and I get it to have fun, totally get it. You're hoping for that one video. I love when people say, "Hey, we're going to make a video that's going to go viral." No, no. The world tells you if it's going viral. You can't make a video and say, "Oh, this one's going to go viral. It's great."
If I could
Uh,
make videos go viral, I don't know if I'd probably be retired at this point. So
well, yeah, it's like in any business or any industry. If it was easy, everybody'd be doing it.
right.
Cracks me up. We are here with Alex Reynes, president and founder of A Reynes Media. You can go to A Reynes, that's Reynes media.com. He does video, he does commercial photography, works a lot with realtors. If you're getting ready to stage a home, you're going to want Alex to come in and take some good photos of it so it can sell quick and for more money. Today's show is brought to you by Oak City Tech. If you go to oakcitytech.com, tell them what you're looking for. I know that they will be able to help you. They can design your website. They can give you a presence in the digital world. So please go to oakcitytech.com. Tell them we said hi. All right, Alex, you have an interesting background of automobiles and video and lacrosse and still photography. And you laugh at a lot of folks in our chapter who are coming to you for still photos. Joe Aiello being one of them. We're certainly happy to offer poses and stuff like that, but that probably didn't happen much. But you and your wife Laura yesterday celebrated 1 year anniversary.
We did, yeah.
Congratulations! Did you
Thank you.
do anything fun, or can you do much in COVID these days? My wife and I did not. We had one in July, and not much to do. So.
Yeah, we are currently still in Asheville, up in near Black Mountain. Spent the weekend here. We're we moved here from Montana, so we're definitely mountain people. So chose to spend it up here.
Is there a good, well, I always ask this. How did you and Laura meet? And do you both tell the story the same way?
uh, we don't tell the story the same way, um, but we met at a Toyota dealership in Montana. She was selling cars there, and I started as a auto detailer there throughout college. So just throughout the years, you know, she was one of the top salespeople. I was bringing cars back there, and as I kind of moved up, towards a sales position, then we were actually working um, alongside each other, and so the rest is yeah.
All right. So when did it become? I think I'd like to ask her out.
um, it was a couple of years actually. We became friends, and I mean it was I don't even remember if I had quit and then come back a couple times throughout college, and I can't remember if it was during one of those me not working there phases or working there phases. But I do remember when we started dating, I was working there, and it kind of had to be a secret for a while, which was kind of interesting. And then it was kind of a funny big deal when it was no longer a secret.
You
So.
mean usually everyone else knows and you two are still trying to hide it?
Right. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. That's probably actually what was going on. We thought we were being clever, but
Body language gives away everything
Yeah, right.
because she'll be walking away and you won't say anything, but your buddies will see this move, right? See you kind of cut your eyes or watch her walk away or see her come. It's like, dude, what's going on there? So where was the first date?
The first date was, I believe, at a little music venue called the Filling Station in Montana. Little kind of dive bar place to watch good music. Um,
What did you two
place
listen to at that dive bar? What types of music
I
was there?
they had everything. Probably there's probably something bluegrass related. Um, that's something that we have in common. Um, but honestly, I don't remember anything from that night. Just sitting at the bar. We played some pool, I think, but I was probably pretty nervous. I don't even remember.
You're filling us with a lot of confidence here,
Yeah,
Alex.
yeah.
Now, how would Laura tell the story?
Well, I like to tell a story of when we worked together. That was pretty funny. It was one of my first days on the sales floor, and she's gonna kill me for telling the story, but I'm gonna tell it anyways. Um, I had just started um, selling accessories in the Toyota store, and I was taking over for another gentleman who left, and he left with some kind of open sales orders and stuff like that. So my first day was spent kind of going through those orders and figuring out where we were on a lot of those things. And I came across this one vehicle that they ordered a camper topper for the back of the truck, and it was Laura's customer. So I give the topper guy a call and was just seeing kind of where we were with that order. And he'd asked, oh, is that a long bed or a short bed? And my desk and Laura's desk were maybe 30 feet apart. And so I kind of put the phone down. And I was like, hey Laura, was that Tacoma topper? Was it a long bed or a short bed? And she, from across the showroom, was like, the Tacoma doesn't come in a long bed. Like, read a fucking book. Like, like from across, And I was just like, oh, okay. Like, so I went to go tell Greg. I was like, hey man, and he goes, yep, I heard. Not a long bed. So, to her defense though, it was, I think, like the third topper order for that truck that got messed up. So it was funny. I love telling that story.
Oh, she must have liked you enough to phrase the answer that way, right?
Yeah,
You were in business development at Wrestler Motors.
yeah.
Is that the Toyota dealership?
Yep, it
All
was.
right. And then what is Alan Ram's Training Solutions?
So yeah, Alan Ram's Proactive Training Solutions. That was still is an automotive sales training company. Alan Ram tragically passed away a couple years ago, and his sister took over the company, and they're still crushing it there. But that's really where I got my start in video production. Laura and I moved down to Arizona. She was offered a job with them. She did so well with automotive sales that this guy Alan Ram actually basically recruited her to be his director of sales. And within a few months, he actually hired me on to do all the production for the company. It was all online based sales training. And again, yeah, that's where I kind of got my start and learned a lot about video and specifically, training and educational video production, which is something that I still do a lot of today and still really enjoy. But that was such a great learning experience and such a great way to kind of get going in this industry.
You were more comfortable turning in those videos than the ones you did to Montana State?
Usually, yeah.
Let me guess, the one at Montana State you did not get paid for, correct?
I did get paid for that one, actually.
Did you feel guilty cashing the check?
A little bit, yeah.
How much was that for?
I think it was $400.
Dang, that's good money
Yeah,
back then, wasn't it?
yeah.
What'd you blow it on?
I don't know. I don't even think I should probably say, but that's, it's funny because thinking back, I was like, oh yeah, that's a good amount of money, but I probably spent 100 hours on that, on that
Yeah.
video. So,
Yeah. Again, but the things you learn, right? You took some
right.
notes and remembered some things. It's like, all right, not going to do
Yeah.
this again. Was it helpful to use their video, or if you had the correct equipment, would it have been better to shoot your own?
Um, it's funny because they actually had some really cool shots. I remember they had footage out of an airplane of Montana State, and yeah, I mean, even some of these companies I work with now don't have the budget for that. So that was pretty unique. And so no, I don't know that I could have done better necessarily back then.
We picture the state of Montana, what, 100,000 people maybe, and nothing but open land and blue skies, correct?
Yeah, something like that. A couple more people, but yeah.
Was it a foregone conclusion you were going to go to Montana State?
No, I mean, I was not even thinking about it. I in high school I was really into snowboarding, so I did want to go out west somewhere, and I applied to countless schools in Colorado and uh, California, things like that. And then, I mean, I still remember to this day. It was kind of funny. I was sitting there applying for a couple colleges, and I was like, oh, I should probably have maybe one more. And I leaned back in my chair, and down the row, computers, there happened to be a Montana State uh, poster on the wall, and I was like, oh, that looks, there's mountains there. So I applied, and I ended up getting a scholarship there. So it was one of those things where we kind of had to go look at it because I think that was the only school offering me money. So, um, but we went to look, and I absolutely hated it at first, and then basically wrote it off, said I wasn't going there. And then we went skiing up in Big Sky for a couple days, and then we came back down to Bozeman. I was like, you know what, maybe, so
Did you get some good snowboarding time in Montana?
I did, yeah. It was that's some of the best skiing in the world there. I ended up tearing my meniscus a couple years into college, and after that, it never was as fun. um, so I've kind of slowed down on that a little bit, but definitely.
Well, that kind of spoils my next question, which was going to be
Uh,
when's the last time you snowboarded?
uh, it's it's strange to say, but it's probably been a couple of years.
When you were in school there, were there some students that didn't or have never been snow skiing?
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, we definitely. I mean, the huge population of kids coming there just to ski and snowboard, but we definitely had some people there that didn't. We actually had a pretty good like foreign exchange kind of program. I don't know what that's called in college terms, but a lot of people from Africa or Asia that had never done it. And then a lot of the locals there, some of the born and bred Montana kids just weren't about it.
There in BNI in the Wake Forest group on Friday morning, the banker there at Fidelity named Rumi Rhodes is from Bulgaria.
Mm.
And she and we've gotten to know each other a little bit over the last couple of months. And she was telling me the story about how she got over here. She was doing a student exchange program, and they said, "Hey, what do you think about Buffalo?" She's like, "Well, it's in New York. Okay, I'll try it." And then she got the official paperwork. It was Buffalo, Wyoming. Yep. So she goes from a picturesque seaside Bulgarian city to Buffalo, Wyoming, working at the McDonald's there during peak tourist season.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
it's a loss.
Yeah. She met her husband there, so everything worked
All
out well.
right,
So
there's a
what
win.
is one thing we think we know about Montana, but we don't?
Uh, well, for starters, there's more than 100,000 people there. Let's see. most people would picture Montana as this beautiful, mountains and stuff like that. But realistically, that's really only like the western third or quarter of the state. The rest of the state is actually super flat. Might as well be North Dakota. You know, kind of boring almost. I hate to say it.
But when you're out in the middle of nowhere on flat interstate, you're what, pushing 95 and 100?
Allegedly.
Yes. You've heard stories, right?
Right.
Nice. And the one time you do it, because all your buddies will say, oh, yeah, we do that. You got like 40 miles, you can just gun it. And the one time you do it, there's that one cop sitting there behind that billboard, right?
That is exactly what happened to me the first time driving home from school. I was with a buddy, and I was probably doing 85, 90 miles an hour, and he's like, "Why are you going so slow?" And I was like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "Come on, like let's go." So I literally floor it. I'm maybe almost at 100, and just like that, cop from the other side of the highway turns around and comes, and I was like, "We haven't seen a cop in 5 hours," and I get pulled over doing that.
What was the ticket?
He was actually really, really cool, and uh he kind of downgraded it, so I was only doing 5 over or something like that. So it was like a $40 ticket. That was the funniest part. But me being in college, I was like, what? Like, how am I gonna afford this? All this stuff.
And which is worse, paying the 40 or telling your parents?
Uh, it was definitely telling my dad. Yeah.
So, but I mean, the 100, yeah, if he hadn't knocked it down, you're looking at a lot of money, I
Oh
bet.
yeah, yeah,
Oh.
yeah. And I guess the worst part was, yeah, telling my dad and then asking him for $40.
And then watching your insurance rates go up.
Yeah, exactly.
We are here with Alex Reynes, owner and founder of Reynes Media. Alex focuses on video, commercial photography. You can go to areynesmedia.com and check out his work. Today's show is brought to you by Oak City Tech. If you need help in the digital world, folks, and it is crowded and it is noisy. So if you want somebody that knows what they're doing, can help you get your message out there, please go to oakcitytech.com. Tell Drago that we said hi. All right, Ash, we're talking about your days in Montana. You went there on a lacrosse scholarship.
Academic, actually.
Okay. My story, my show,
Real,
I'll say kind of, you were,
real
well,
surprisingly.
then let me split words here. You were on scholarship and you played lacrosse. Is that correct?
That's more accurate. Yeah.
Okay. All right. How was your game back then? Pretty good?
It was all right. Montana State is not necessarily known for their lacrosse program, but I did okay.
Did you really want to play lacrosse at another school, but didn't work out?
Um, it's I actually my senior year in high school I actually left our lacrosse team, so I didn't think that I really even had a shot of playing in college. However, club teams, that's a big deal still. So it was just kind of an added bonus that they had a team.
Where'd you graduate high school?
Oak Park, Illinois. It's just right outside Chicago.
How did you get in touch with the lacrosse coach? Nice.
Sorry,
Thanks,
Mike. I
man.
broke a rule.
Yeah, like I
Broke
can
your
edit
one rule.
that out. Yeah. How did you get in touch with the lacrosse coach at Montana State?
um, I didn't actually. I think it was during one of our student orientations. There was a a booth set up with some of the current lacrosse players, and they desperately needed some guys at that point, and they made a very compelling argument to come play with them. And it was it was a really fun group of guys, and um, I think uh, we got away with some stuff as a team that definitely wouldn't fly these days. So it was just a really, really interesting experience playing with them.
I think that goes without saying today in sports that it's not like, and we go back 20 years, wasn't like 10 years ago. So, we can do that. Where was the best place you guys went to play a road match at?
Mm. Um, Probably we played some. I can't remember the name of the school now, but they were in Washington. It was like a very small private school, and they had, I mean, one of the nicest, campuses I've ever seen. But they had probably the most aggressive and rowdy fans ever, and they gave us a hell of a time. It was pretty funny.
Did they do their homework on you guys?
Uh, they must
To
have, because they kicked our ass, so it was not.
did the fans do some homework on what to heckle you guys with?
No, I think they had their go-tos that just kind of weren't on anyone there.
So you coach boys lacrosse now.
I do, yeah.
All right. Tell me how you got into that here locally once you guys moved here.
So before we moved here, and before we were living in Montana, before that we were living in Arizona, and I had coached with a program there for a couple of years, and came to really enjoy it. So when I moved here, I knew it was something I wanted to get back into. Um, and I'm pretty sure I saw like a little like Scott Sam's road sign on the side of the road for Oak City Lacrosse.
Mhm.
So I gave the owner, his name's Matt Peterson, I gave him a call, and we had a really, really great conversation about coaching, and he said he needed a couple new coaches. So we sat down, had a beer, and kind of talked about that. And he runs a really, really great program. So came to coach with them. This is my second season now with them, and yeah, it's a lot of fun.
We don't know much about lacrosse or rugby in general, but you have to be very physically fit to play lacrosse, don't you? A, for the running, B, somebody's going to whack you with a stick.
Yeah, yeah, lots of running. You got like the running from soccer, and then you got the hits from hockey. So there's definitely there's a level of fitness there that I don't think I'm up to anymore. But
When the coaches go recruiting, do they look for like track athletes to play, or what are they looking for?
we we used to pull a lot of guys out of football. Um, that was a big one, especially because the seasons are flipped, so it was really easy to get them to come play in the off season. Hockey was a big, you know, pool for us to draw from. Um, and I mean, in high school, for me, lacrosse just wasn't very popular in Chicago. So we had, I mean, we were pulling kids even out of, like swimming. They came from kind of anywhere. So
But that was a fun transition, right?
yeah, that was a good one.
Who is Laura Toyota?
Laura Toyota is call herself that anymore though. So she got
But
a
that was a nickname she earned, right?
yeah, that she was a really big self promoter, did a lot of her own marketing and branding, became pretty well known on YouTube as Laura Toyota, to the point where Toyota did send her a letter asking her not to use that name anymore.
Oh, really?
Yeah, oh yeah, yeah. So
So what do you do then, Laura?
you go to Laura Drives.
Yeah, that's too funny. Toyota. But she was selling Toyotas for them. She was making all of them money, right?
Yeah, yep. It just I she did a great job, but I can understand Toyota. You make one video that doesn't paint them in the best picture, and now you got a problem.
But she can sell, can't she?
She can. She really can. She was a consistent, 30 car a month salesperson.
Oh
Um,
my.
and I mean, in Montana, that's a big deal. Anywhere that's a big deal, but
Hey,
yeah,
that's a pretty good living, isn't it?
yeah, definitely can be.
30 cars a month. And that you don't even have a full year because we assume, even though the folks from Montana are equipped at living in the snow. I mean, there's just some days you just don't go out to look for cars, right?
Oh yeah, definitely. Especially when the car is, buried under 3.5 feet of snow.
Yeah, because after a while, it doesn't do any good to wipe it off.
No.
So you never wanted to sell cars?
Well, I definitely thought about it. I was, like I said, I was in college at the time, in that job. That store was really great about, um, giving college kids jobs part time, really working with that schedule. So I took advantage of that.
Now, where I come from in the South, and having been a very proud University of Tennessee graduate, that's where the star football players went to do nothing and get paid. So we use it different down here in the South than they do up in the West. So, can we give Laura a shout out on where she's working now? Would that be appropriate for her?
Yeah. She is working with the Fred Anderson Auto Group. They've got stores in Raleigh and uh, up here in Nashville, and a few more, one in South Carolina and a couple more around in North Carolina.
Oh, so you're writing this trip off. I like it.
Not this one, not the anniversary trip, but
Good answer, Alex, on camera.
yeah,
Good answer.
yeah.
I didn't realize that Fred Anderson was a multi state company until I was in South Carolina about 3 years ago at some training. And I was watching TV's commercial like, Fred Anderson, man, that's a long way away.
Hmm.
It's like, oh, okay. He's got it
Yep.
going on.
Yeah.
Now
You
she
gotta
does sales and sales training. Do you use her much for your video work?
not so much. She is the um, she's gonna kill me because I don't remember her exact title, but she is
Let
the
me help you here. Director of
there you go.
Sales Development.
There you go.
Yep.
That.
I'm here for
Thanks,
you.
Mike.
I'm here.
Yeah, so she really is in charge of sales training among all the stores. So I actually do a lot of their filming for um, training content and stuff like that. But she is known well enough in the automotive industry that if I were to use her for some of my stuff, it might be, um, I don't know, kind
Would
of
your clicks go
diluting
up?
her brand. Maybe, yeah, probably.
Well, if it helps you, man, come on. That means it helps
Yeah,
us.
yeah,
And that life is a whole nother world, though, isn't it? That auto sales in general.
absolutely. Yeah, the automotive industry is very unique, and I love it. She loves it. That's again, that's where we met and everything. So, anytime I can get into dealerships to help film content and stuff like that, I love doing that.
I just am always curious as what their electric bill is for the month, keeping that lot lit 24/7.
Yeah, overhead's that is a line item for sure.
Yeah, just between that and the advertising budget.
Yeah,
They need
well,
people like
that's
Laura selling 30 cars a month.
right.
You guys moved from Montana to Arizona. Was that any kind of culture shock for you?
That was a big one. Laura's sister had been living there for a few years, and I still remember she came to visit us one time in Montana, and as she was leaving to go back to Arizona, I remember saying to Laura, I was like, I would never live in Arizona. That's just one of those states. And sure enough, like 6 months later, we were there. So that was definitely a big one.
Which tells you we all have our price when the company says,
Yeah,
hey,
oh
we're
yeah,
going to transfer you. We're going to give you a raise and a new title. We're going to pay for your move. And you got no choice, do you?
yeah, right.
And plus you're mobile. You can do your
Yeah,
good stuff anywhere.
that is, yep, absolutely.
That's so funny. And we all have that list of things we're never going to do. And like, all right, I'll do that if
Yeah,
you need me to. So we are here with Alex Reynes, owner and founder of Reynes Media. He will help you get together some killer video work so you can get your message out. We talked a lot about the video that's going on. I know one of the places that can use good video like Alex's is Oak City Technology, help you promote your website that they're going to build for you. grow your content, increase traffic, increase leads and sales, go to oakcitytech.com. Tell Drago we said hi. I know they'll be able to help you. So, video today on websites, we don't like the written word as much. We want to hear somebody say, this is the greatest product ever. You have to buy it.
Yep. We definitely prefer our video. I don't have the numbers in front of me, but basically, if you can put your message in video form versus text, it's exponentially get your message out there.
For people watching and listening that have a website and a business, what's the first couple of steps? Let's say they're not ready for you yet, but
Mhm.
they want to get a video up. What's the best thing for them to do?
Well, so one of the big things that I produce for companies are testimonials. So one place we draw a lot of those ideas and potential uh, interviews from is Yelp or Google reviews, those sorts of things. So that's a really good place to start, is getting good solid reviews, starting to build up your library of reviews, seeing what people are consistently saying, that you do well or maybe don't do well, and improving on that. And then when it's time to actually sit down and film the video, those are great messages to build upon.
If a business owner has a client that's willing to do a video testimonial, is it the what they're saying or how they're saying it that gets across to other potential customers?
It's definitely both, but video gives you the ability to show emotion, to show body language, to show all these things. So, you know, yes, you need to have good things to say, but the more enthusiastically and emotionally you can say those things, that's really what that sells the message.
I know most of us, well, a lot of us now, most of us were working from home a lot now. It's just a lot of us because some people have gone back to work. We're doing more videos from home. And I finally went and bought I don't know, a 2-foot tripod just to put on the counters and and put my phone in there on landscape, which thank you for that tip. What other things do we need? Should we do them outside? Should we do them inside? Is there a particular room, time of day, anything like that that'll help make those videos better?
Um, Again, lighting, that's your biggest friend or enemy. You know, Different rooms are going to have different quality of light at different points of the day. And because we are doing so much from home, I would say take advantage of that and move around, use different backgrounds, use different sets, maybe do some outside, inside, that sort of thing. If people are scrolling through LinkedIn or Facebook or wherever you're putting your video content and they're seeing the same background, you know, it can be difficult to, oh yeah, maybe I saw that one, maybe I didn't. They see a new background, they're like, oh, I definitely haven't seen this, and might pique their interest. Throwing some other things in your videos might also help.
How long would you want those videos to be?
um, we live in an interesting time now where people's attention span is not long. So honestly, videos, and again, it depends on what the content is and where you're housing that content. But as far as social media stuff like that, your videos have to be pretty short. A minute is even that's a long time. So
And I know a lot of people now are just starting to go live on their Facebook page with, hey, Alex Reynes here. Here's my tip of the day for you. Again, 60 seconds or less. We see them from the car, we see them from outside. What are some thoughts on those?
yeah, again, keeping those nice and short, to the point. Um, you know, Video content these days, it has to either be entertaining or educational or both. But I mean, the the theme there is it needs to have value to whoever you want watching it. It cannot be self-serving. It can't be salesy. It can't be anything like that. So yeah, tips, tricks, fun facts, that sort of thing. That's definitely it's definitely a way to go. Like I said, anything that's really providing real value.
I'm a big list guy. So if like here are the top 5 things to do or not to do, those are always good, correct?
Yep,
Mm.
those are definitely effective.
What role does YouTube play, or what role should YouTube play in our world if we're serious about getting videos out?
Um, YouTube is, I mean, again, it's a great place to house all kinds of content to get different types of views. But again, it's either going to be entertainment or it's going to be real education. Um, you know, how to's when people have a question on, oh, how do I change my tire, or how do I write a business plan? Those are great videos to make for YouTube. Anything that you could type into Google and get results, or entertainment. That's just the other route that does really well.
I was not aware of this till about a year ago that YouTube was the second biggest search engine in the world behind Google. Was surprised to hear that.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yep. Well, now Google owns YouTube, so now they just, I mean, if it can be answered with a video, kind of like you said earlier, if you could watch it versus read it, people most likely going to watch it. So
Yeah, I know a couple years ago, my wife was staining the dining room table, and she knew pretty much what to paint it with to stain, do everything like that. But she Googled how to prep the table to stain, and any tips. There's 50 videos that came up on how to do that. She watched a couple, they were consistent and felt very good, and it turned out great. But the answers are out there. But your video should have a question on it, so because that's how people type in things they're looking for.
yeah, so that's, again, I'm more the creative side of things. I like to kind of find people who are really good at the technical side of things to really refer that type of thing to. But you know, the way, yeah, definitely, if you can match your title very closely to the questions being asked, that will, increase the chances of your video being found.
Would you be surprised if I knew your college lacrosse jersey number?
I would.
Do I have you as an attacker wearing number 1?
I was a midfielder wearing number one, which is a very, very
Okay.
weird number,
Yeah.
but yeah,
Ha-
good,
Had the number 1 right. They had you listed as an attack man.
interesting.
Yeah. But number 1, I mean, number 1 in your heart, number 1 on the field, right?
Yep, yep.
You, a while back, you were one of some of the community work you did, which is why I love BNI people, because most of us are involved in the community. You were digital media chair for Sweet Pea, a festival of the arts. What a great name. What was that event about?
That event was all about the arts in Bozeman, Montana. Really, just it was just a big art festival. Uh, Unfortunately, I was not able to ever go to the festival. Even the year that I was on the committee, we ended up moving down to Arizona before it. So I did all this work just to not even get to see the event. But it was definitely a fun experience.
Good art scene in Montana.
Yeah, surprisingly, very very good. A lot of that Western style of art. You know, Bozeman specifically is becoming very kind of a higher scale area, almost like a Boulder, Colorado, something like that. So it is also bringing in a lot more high end art. Um, and I've been lucky enough to even work with some of those artists. helping promote some of their work. And that's honestly, that was one of my favorite projects. It was creating a video for a local artist there.
Can we picture you roping and riding a horse?
You could picture me falling off a horse and being dragged by that rope, probably.
Oh man, what's the weirdest thing you've had to shoot, either still or video?
Um, I one of the weirder things, I spent some time working with a dental training company, and we filmed a lot of surgeries, which was new to me and kind of kind of different and strange. A lot of like implant surgeries and stuff like that.
Where was the camera lens then?
Well, we would use my cameras, and I would use like a telephoto macro type lens. So we're actually a pretty good distance away. But then also we would use what's called an intraoral camera, which is this tiny little camera that mounts to the that overhead light you see at the dentist's office, and that can get nice and close into the patient's mouth. Yeah.
Did you have to get the patient's permission?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
God, that had to have been weird.
Yeah. People were more willing than you would think to have their
Oh,
mouth
sure. Yeah.
filmed. Yeah.
Yeah. Were you in the room for the whole time for the surgery?
Yep.
Oh
Usually open to
gosh.
close. Yeah.
Oh Lord, that's something. If parents have kids today who have that creative eye, want to start doing some video or even still photography, what's a couple things they need to do to help spur that interest on?
That's a good one. You know, now with technology, it's kind of cool because, I mean, a lot of kids even have iPhones and whatnot. So you've got a pretty powerful camera in your pocket. Um, you know, a big thing is not letting other people's work discourage you. Like once you start comparing yourself to people, like, oh, I can't do that, that sort of thing. That's a big dream crusher right there when um, you're seeing something that you think you can't even uh, come close to. It all just takes time and your own creative vision to make those things happen.
But you guys are like chefs. We could give 30 chefs a lasagna dish to make, and everyone's going to be different, right?
Right. And I think that's part of that whole creative process is your own take on it, your own spin on it, making the all the lasagnas that are the same, that's nothing special. But once you start doing, something different, that's where um, you know, the big money is. The I don't know.
Yeah. Are there any reality TV shows that venture into your world that you watch, have anything to do with video or photography or anything?
Not really. I don't it, reality shows, that sort of thing. That's really not my cup of tea. I guess there's a show that I love. They started as a little YouTube show. It's called Roadkill. Couple of California guys building hot rods and stuff like that, and doing all kinds of crazy stuff. But um, that's been a show that I really enjoy, and I would love to produce something like that one day.
What would be the title or show of your show? Have you gotten that far yet?
I have not.
One of the things we never really got to talk about is you love woodworking and furniture and building stuff, don't you?
I do, yeah.
Right. So one day there's gonna be a room in your house, everything in there you built.
That's I think I'm one piece away from that right now, in our current house. So
Do you have time these days to do that?
not as much, but I still make time. I have a 3-car garage in Raleigh, which is pretty unheard of these days. So I mean I've got a pretty complete shop set up there. So um, it's nice to be able to just pop out there for a little while, work on something, and then get right back to what needs to get done.
Is that your break from reality?
Yeah, usually.
Right. What's the music you play in a garage when you're out there by yourself?
Um, I think more often than not, I'm probably listening to stand-up comedy than music.
Okay.
So, yeah.
There you go. All right, Alex Reynes with A Reynes Media. Folks, please go to his website. If you need a photographer, you need video. Video's king today, folks. You're going to have it because you want to hear, like Alex said, you want to hear your customers tell your future customers how great your business is. Alex, wonderful having you on the show today. And congratulations again on the 1 year anniversary. And good luck with business the rest of the year, man.
Thank you very much.
And we'll see you next time on Triangle BNI.
You are tuned to the Nissan Communications Network. If you tuned in too late, you can always watch each program in its entirety or download an MP3 audio file of it in the archives section at nissancommunications.com. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Twitter, and like us on Facebook. Sponsored by Telestream's Wirecast software, StreamingGear.com, Carolina Apparel, and DeltaForce.net.